Hi, I'm Hannah Roper, Creative Director of Country on the Coast, and I would love to give you a big welcome to a special Country on the Coast episode of Live in the Living Room.
Doesn't matter what I'm saying if you've made up your mind. Let's push the feelings off. Anything I wanted, you lost. It's not like I told you, but it's still like you want to walk away. So walk away. And I'm sorry if I said the wrong things. It's better to say something. Leave off the side. That you want, I'm done. You can join me, people feel small, standing on shoulders just to make yourself look tall. Maybe when people fall down, we show our strength and pick them up. 'Cause I hear karma come down. Switch the feelings off. Anything I wanted, you lost. It's not like I told you. It seems like you want to walk away. So walk away. And I'm sorry if I said the wrong thing. Better to say something. Leave off the silences. You could think that you want. I'm done.
Welcome back to Live in the Living Room. I'm your host, Dom from Country Chat with Dom. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell just so you don't miss any of the shows. Kicking us off today, we had Gasoline and Matches with their track, I'm Done. Absolutely sensational performance and a great way to kick off an amazing show we have today. Be sure to follow Gasoline and Matches on their socials. Their handles are just below. Now, coming up next is Megan Lee with Hey Danielle.
Hey Danielle, never thought that I would fall under his spell. Didn't see the beauty beneath Can't be his friend, he needs a lover as well. Oh, that's the truth. That's the truth. Honey, he's gonna stay forever 'cause he thinks that he should. And he's gonna make a sacrifice, live a life I never could. The kind of love he's craving ain't the love that you can't give. He needs more than a friend. He needs to live. That's where I come in. Hey Danielle, you're prettier than April bluebells. Everything you do it well. I can't compete, but Danielle, know that I could love him just as well. Set him free and bid him a farewell. Oh, set him free, set him free. Honey, he's gonna stay forever 'cause he thinks that he should. And he's gonna make a sacrifice, live a life I never could. The kind of love he's craving ain't the love that you can't give. He needs more than a friend. He needs to live, and that's where I come in. Hey Danielle, never thought that I would fall under his spell. Didn't see the beauty beneath his shell, but now I do. Now I do.
That was Megan Lee with her song Hey Danielle here on Live in the Living Room, which was an awesome song and a performance there from Megan Lee. Be sure to follow Megan on her socials. Her handles are just below. I also wanted to say a quick thank you to Hannah and the team for inviting us down to Country on the Coast this year. And later on, I will be hearing from Hannah, where we talk about Country on the Coast and how it came to be. But coming up next is another wonderful performance from Katy Hurt, where she performs Unfinished Business.
Second drawer in my desk to the right of my bed is a letter that I started halfway down the page. All the ink spilled in, guess those secrets remain guarded. There's a book on the nightstand, I'm 10 pages in. The spine's already been broken. Yeah, the ending's unknown, but it's written in stone. So I ain't losing sleep. Yes, I can live with all those things being incomplete. But you feel like unfinished still don't know the lyrics, so I make up the words and it might sound absurd, but I'm my own critic, and it's tragic to think that the moment I blink, this picture will lose focus, and it scares me to death that there's love on my breath, and you won't even notice. Yeah, would you even notice? You feel like unfinished business, like a hurricane that's stopping me in my tracks. You feel like unfinished business, and I can't help myself from living in flashbacks. Yeah, I sure hope there's more to this, 'cause you feel like unfinished business. There's a dream that I have and it's making me mad that we laid down those foundations. Yeah, it ain't got no walls and it started out real small, but I still want it all. Yeah, you feel like unfinished business, like a hurricane that stopped me in my tracks. You feel like unfinished business, and I can't help myself looking in flashbacks. Yeah, I sure hope there's more to this. I really hope there's more to this, 'cause you feel like unfinished business.
Katy Hurt with her song Unfinished Business here on Live in the Living Room. Make sure you give Katy a follow on her social media. Her handles are just below. So yes, you're tuned into Live in the Living Room with me, Dom, your host. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and turn on the bell just to keep up to date with all the amazing performances from great artists we have here on Live in the Living Room. Now coming up next is O&O with A Spark Away from Fire.
Throwing stones at your window, trying to tell you I'm here, though I shouldn't have come. Now it's done.
In a daydream, red hot summer, it's hard to breathe when I'm closer to feeling your touch. Can't get close enough. Part of my
That was O&O with their song A Spark Away from Fire here on Live in the Living Room. Absolutely wonderful. Another wonderful performance there. So please check out their socials, which are just below. Well, coming up next is my first personal favourite bit of the show. And I say this every week because it always is. It's where I get to chat with these wonderful artists. And today it is Emma Svensson. And here she is with her song, Hold On.
Nobody tells you when you're not that you might need to think about things you can't change. Nobody tells you when you're young you got the power of the world running in your veins. I'm already on my second life. I still do feel the fire. So hold on to what you want, you can be. Hold on, everything is how it's meant to be. Growing stronger day by day. Hold on, yeah, you're right where you're meant to be. Nobody tells you when you're young that some people waste their time playing evil games. Nobody tells you when you're young you got the power of the world running in your veins. I'm already on my second life. I still do feel the fire. So hold on to what you want and you can be. Hold on, everything is how it's meant to be. Growing stronger day by day. Hold on, yeah, you're right where you're meant to be. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, right where you're meant to be. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, right where you're meant to be. Hold on to what you want, you can be. Hold on, everything is how it's meant to be. Growing stronger day by day. Hold on, yeah, hold on. So hold on to what you want, you can be. Hold on, everything is how it's meant to be. Growing stronger day by day. Hold on, yeah, you're right where you're meant to be. Oh, 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 you're right where you're meant to be. Oh, 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 you're right where you're meant to be.
Hi, Emma.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. Oh, my dog is doing good as well.
We've got a guest
Sorry.
appearance.
Molly. I don't know what she's doing.
Oh, you see, this is the great thing about these interviews is I've got dogs as well. And the amount of times that whenever I do chats or whenever I speak with people and my dogs start barking, it's like,
Yeah.
ah, but it's so adorable.
Yeah, she heard me say hello, so she thought someone's coming. Molly, come.
It's the joys of being a performer, being in the creative world, and particularly because of this whole COVID pandemic that we've all been through and getting used to these live interviews and stuff. Oh, so
Yeah.
adorable.
Yeah, this is Molly.
See, that's the great thing as well about these chats is we don't know how it's going to turn out. And I did not expect to see Molly.
No, she's here now.
So
she's a little entertainer.
So we've just heard your song, Hold On. Just absolutely sensational. I mean, in terms of lyricism, in terms of performance, you are nailing it. You are amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hold On, where does Hold On come from within you?
Actually, it's a kind of weird story because I wrote it like 3 years ago when I was in Nashville, and I was very happy and had the time of my life. And at the time we were writing this song, I actually got a bite from a tick,
Yeah.
and I didn't know that I was on my way to get Lyme disease of it. So like a half year later, I started being sick, and I was very sick. For like I'm still a bit sick, but for 2 years I was very sick, and I didn't release the song because I didn't like feel what it was with it. And then one day I started realize that this song is about someone going through something and someone fighting, and I just started to relate to it very much.
Yeah.
And I found out that I've listened to it a lot when I was sick, and it's a good like pep song. So yeah, it was the perfect moment to release it when I was on my way to getting better and could like see this as a good thing, even though it was very bad.
Yeah, I mean, when I first heard the performance, because the great thing about hosting these shows is I get to watch the performances before everybody else, and absolutely insane. And listening to the actual produced version as well, that's released on Spotify and all the other music platforms, it's so wonderfully done that you can sing it with a band, you can sing it with anything that you want and have it produced, but you can sing it live as well, and it's flawless every single time.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I love the song now.
I mean, I was going to ask later on about Lyme disease because you speak quite heavily on it, and it's in like your bios and everywhere that I have come across your name. You've
Yeah.
mentioned it because it is such a big thing, and I've spoken with other artists in the past who suffered with Lyme disease and how ill you actually do get. And I never really understood beforehand how serious Lyme disease actually was, but it is critical. It is
Yeah,
life-changing.
yeah, it really is. I've been like very, I don't know, healthy and happy, and didn't thought about any disease before this. And then for a moment, I thought that I was going to die, and well, it just changed me. It changed me a lot, and I just appreciate life so much more after it, because it's a sick disease. You get like very, very, very sick. It's like
Yeah.
your whole body stops, and sometimes it felt like I was like out of my body, and I need to like grab myself back into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, it certainly puts everything into perspective, as to say, in terms of life and how fragile we actually are as humans. And I can imagine that also influences yourself as a musician when it comes to writing
Yeah.
songs and performing and just taking every single moment that you can.
Yeah, that's how you need to do it. And I also felt like I wanted to talk about this because it's very strange disease, and there is a lot of people that don't know about it, and the doctors don't even know so much about it. So I felt like I need to like do my put my story out there, so someone that is alone and scared and don't know what it is can like hear it and feel like, okay, if she's fine, I could be fine too.
Well, that's it. It's about taking the next step forward and keep pushing yourself forward for those next steps and looking forward to those next steps. And recently, you've just been over here in the UK performing
Yeah.
and touring. And how was that?
It was great. It was my first time in UK for real, because I've been there on like a weekend with my family when I was 10, and I didn't remember that much. So it was great to come over there, and I love the audience there. Felt like people in UK likes country.
Oh, we love country. I mean, before I came into the scene about 5-6 years ago, I didn't really understand the kind of depth of what we have, in terms of country music here. And I know it's the same for like Sweden and Norway and all the Scandinavian countries as well, because country is huge over there as well, or it's growing even more.
Yeah, and that's awesome. Because
How,
I've loved it since I was like 10 years old, and when I did it from the beginning, no one in my town listened to country. I was like the weirdo, the only child that listened to country.
See,
But yeah,
it's never bad to be the weird one. It's always perfect to be the weird one because you're unique, you're special,
yeah,
and who wants to follow the crowd?
exactly. That's true.
Now, in terms of actual performances and music, do we have anything coming up in the near future?
Yeah, I have been writing a lot when I was sick and with the COVID and everything. So I have a lot of songs that I need to go into the studio and put out. So I have one that I'm very excited about. So we will record it soon and hopefully release it very soon.
Oh, I cannot wait. I mean, if it's anything by what you've released so far, it's going to be amazing. I really cannot wait.
Thank you so much.
Can you give us any little hints or anything about what the song's about or the kind of feel to the song, or is that all secret?
No, the song that I know that I want to release is a song about my family. Because I have a very good family and it's about like memories with them. And I feel like I need to do more happy songs because I'm always listening to happy songs and I am a very happy person. And my older songs are more, it's a very much like heartbroken songs. And I feel like I'm done with them for a while.
Well, that's it. I mean, as a creative and as a writer and a singer and a musician and everything in between, when we're actually creating something, we go through fits and spurts, and we tend to focus, like, you focus on the negative songs, you focus on the heart, the emotional ones, the heartful ones, and then something could happen, and next thing you know, you're writing all these amazing love songs or happy songs or say family songs. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you. Me too. Yeah, it's weird to be like a very emotional person and also writing about everything that you experience, because it will be a lot of different feelings in your songs.
Well,
but that's what I like about it.
That's it. I mean, when it comes to actually writing songs, then is the majority of it based on real life events? Is it based on things that are happening around you, or is it a lot of it fiction, or is it all a mixture of the both?
I always write about something that happened in my life or like something that I've experienced. I try to like write about friends and persons that I don't know and that kind of stuff, but I don't know, I don't feel it. I need to like feel every word to understand what I should sing, and it's easier to sing it to a person. It's like telling you something, and if it's not from me, it's like just weird to tell you that.
Well, that's it. I mean, end of the day, we're telling stories, and you can tell better stories when it's something that's coming from the person, it's coming from yourself within. And a lot of people can do the fiction side and create these stories in their heads, but a lot of musicians and a lot of people I've spoken with, a lot of people do base it on real life things that have happened around them, whether it's themselves or whether it's something that their friends have been through. And I can imagine you've been through so much, particularly recently with having Lyme disease, and I'm so glad that you're recovering and you're doing well.
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing very good now.
Well, where can we find you on social media then? Where can the fans and people who want to know more about your music find you?
Well, I'm almost everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, not Twitter, but on Spotify. And I actually just started to do TikToks as well. So
I'm going to have to search.
I'm everywhere.
What do people have to search for to find you? Is it just Emma Svensson?
Emma Svensson Music.
There we go. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to watch your TikToks, and I cannot wait to hear more music.
No, not me either. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Emma, for coming on, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Molly. Bye, Emma.
Bye.
That was Emma Svensson performing her song, Hold On. And after that was a quick chat that we had about her song and as a life as a artist. So make sure you check out her social media handles. They're just below. Keep out as well an eye for brand new music because she's just so stunning. She really is. Just check out her socials. Now, coming up next is a performance from Gareth Nugent. And here he is with his song, You Versus Me.
Face neon lights, shapes you've never seen. Walk along the golden mile, they're just living for a dream. Now everybody's a poet, an actor or a queen. Trying to get a break, you know, hard to look at scenes. We seem to analyze everything we say. I think it's just a case, you versus me. Well, versus me, yeah, well that's okay. Well, I rise buildings up to God's front door, where there's fallen angels just letting me adore. The taxi cabs, limousines, here in Timbuktu, where there's tattoos, towns, you know, Van Gogh couldn't paint a blue. We seem to analyze everything we say. I think it's just a case, you versus me. Well, you versus me, yeah. Do you think of me when you're lying in your bed? Maybe that's a crazy thought, I gotta get out of my head. I might be a sinner, but I'm trying to survive. That makes me guilty, better lock me up. Oh yeah, you better lock me up for life. Walking down the street, I met a man on the road. Can I answer your question? He said, I tried, but I don't know. What if tomorrow never comes or the sky falls down? Well, he looked me straight in the face, he said, I guess you're from out of town. We seem to analyze everything we say. I think it's just a case, you versus me. Well, you versus me, yeah. Well, do you think of me when you're lying in your bed? Well, maybe that's a crazy thought, I gotta get out of my head. I might be a sinner, but I'm trying to survive. That makes me guilty, better lock me up. Then lock me up for life. Better lock me up for life. Well, do you think of me when you're lying in your bed? Well, maybe that's a crazy thought, gotta get out of my head.
Gareth Nugent playing You Versus Me, an absolutely wonderful song. And make sure you are following Gareth on his socials. They're just below. Absolutely fantastic artist, and you really don't want to miss out on everything he's got planned up. Now, if you would like to appear live in the living room, be sure to send either myself, Dom Crook, James Vince, or Rachel Selleck a message on our social media pages. Alternatively, send the Live in the Living Room page a message, and one of us will pick it up and we'll get you on the show. Now, coming up next is another wonderful singer and songwriter who got to perform with the absolutely insane artist Darius Rucker at this year's Country to Country Festival in London. Here is Lucy Blue with Surrender.
You should know I've been hurt before, too many times. Guess that's why I built these walls, 10 foot high, stayed standing through ice and fire. Then you came along, being strong didn't cross my mind. I won't run and I won't hide. It's no use fighting the tide. My castle's falling, I'm diving on into you. care. I'm not scared. White flags waving. I won't run and I won't hide. It's no use fighting the tide. The castle's falling. I'm diving on into you. I surrender. I surrender. Oh, you're all I wanted and more. You're something worth fighting for. I am yours. I won't run and I won't hide. It's no use fighting the tide. The castle's falling, I'm diving all into you. I surrender. I surrender.
Such a great performance there by Lucy Blue with her song Surrender. Her handles are just below, so please make sure you give her a follow. And I just cannot believe the chances some artists get by performing on such great stages with great artists like Darius Rucker, and Lucy really, really does deserve it. She's just such a wonderful artist. So yeah, be sure to check her out. Be sure to check out her music as well. Just absolutely insane. I mean, her song Bonnie and Clyde as well. Just, oh, it is absolutely incredible. So just a reminder as well that the Live in the Living Room Gives Back event is happening again this year, and it will be back in London at the Bedford Pub in Balham, and we'll be there on the 22nd of May, where tickets are still available. There's going to be a fair few artists, and it's going to be a wonderful day. We'll be raising money for dementia awareness, which is a very, very close cause to all of us here at Live in the Living Room. So it'd be great to see you all there, and all money raised will be sent straight to dementia awareness. So be sure to go to Live in the Living Room and we'll sort you out with some tickets. Now, coming up next is the second chat of the show. And here I am chatting with the insanely talented Hannah Roper about Country on the Coast. Hi, Hannah.
Hello, how are you?
Absolutely fantastic. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Really good.
I mean, we've just been having a quick chat just before we actually started this show, and we've been talking about things like pizza, because who doesn't love pizza? And we've been talking about Country on the Coast as well, about how much of a great weekend it was. And I was talking about how much James and Rachel, the founders here at Live in the Living Room, absolutely adored it. How was it for you actually setting it all up and being the founder, one of the founders of Country on the Coast?
A roller coaster of emotion. The weekend itself was absolutely fantastic. I had such a good time. Leading up to it has been interesting. We founded the festival in 2019, actually thought about it in 2018, and it all came about because I basically got a little bit selfish. I had been traveling across the country performing as Lily Garland. I did some fantastic gigs and shows kind of in various different places, but it was getting harder and harder as my son was getting older to keep traveling around to do the gigs. But I still wanted to be with the incredible artists that we have as part of the UK country music scene. So, you know, as you do, I just thought to myself, why not create my own event? And yeah, just as you do. And of course, for anyone that knows me, knows that I don't do things by halves. So the idea of just creating an evening didn't even cross my mind. I went straight to a weekend. And luckily, I had a really great relationship with the Gaiety in Southsea, which is on South Parade Pier. I'd known the owners for a very, very long time. I'd done a lot of amateur dramatics with them. We had a really, really great relationship. And when looking for a venue, I thought I wanted it to be inside because I didn't want to have to worry about the weather. I knew I wanted to do it quite early in festival season, so the weather might be a bit of an issue. And luckily, they were really keen, really on board, didn't do anything like that. So kind of jumped in really with me, and we created the 2019 Country on the Coast. And then we were in plans to do 2020, And of course, in March, 1 month before we were supposed to do it, everything got locked down. So 2022 was 2 years in the making. It was the 4th date reschedule that we had. So to actually get there was just amazing. And I'm just so pleased that we managed to do it.
I think that's one of the biggest things as well. I mean, we always talk about COVID and the amount it's affected artists, but it's also affected everybody else as well. The festivals, any organisers, all the publicists, everybody involved in country music and music in general. You know, we've all suffered. And the fans as well, because we've had to miss out on so much.
Oh, so much. I mean, if you think 2 years of not being able to go to those live events, and then especially for us where we were an indoor event, if we had been an outdoor event, we actually might have been able to have done things a lot sooner. But because we were indoor, and again, that was really important to me to keep it as an indoor event, especially where it was in April or potentially October was when we kept rescheduling it to each year. We've all missed out on so much. And I think you almost forgot. I think I forgot what it was like going to live music events. I don't know about you, but it just, when as soon as we were able to, it was just like the world had opened up again.
Well, it's like when we did our Live in the Living Room Gives Back event back in November last year. That was the first proper gig as such with multiple artists at the same time. And it was just seeing everybody being on the stage together, actually having photos again. It was just so nice. And the ability to hug. I missed it so much.
I was just about to say that. It's that, because a lot of people, and this is what I found at Country on the Coast over the whole weekend, is a lot of the country music artists had connected with each other online and had never actually met each other in person. And the same for some of the fans as well. They'd connected with the artists online. They'd had all these conversations. Everyone's just been, a 2D image on the screen for so long. And all of a sudden you're in the room with people. And that was a real joy for me, actually, being able to put on this event that not only was about the music, but was actually about the relationships that people had developed as well. And the hugging, I think I hugged everyone, which is probably not very COVID friendly, but hey ho.
Well, the majority of us are vaccinated, so we do have some form of protection. And it's so nice to be able to go back to some form of normality. I know normal's never going to be the same, but at least we're heading back in that direction. And to have live music as well is just such a blessing in disguise. Now, when it comes to actually organising festivals, what is the actual critical parts? What are the things that you didn't realise was so much involved into it? Or was there anything that kind of took you by surprise when starting up Country on the Coast?
I think I went into it quite naively. I've never done event organisation before, but I am a big organizer. So all of the artists will know. I have spreadsheets coming out of my ears. Everything is scheduled. There's a running joke this year about whether or not things were on the schedule. And if they weren't on the schedule, then we didn't have time for them. So I think I had that natural organizational ability to start with, which stood me in good stead. But I think it was the vast amount of things that I had to think about. So start from putting the applications out, and we were really lucky. Even in the first year, a lot of people wanted to come and perform at the festival. It'd never been run before, it was an unknown, but we still had loads and loads of artists that wanted to be involved. But actually narrowing the artists down is really, really hard, and even more so this time because people had a year to kind of base their judgment on, and we had so many applications for artists to perform that I felt really mean having to choose, because we only had a certain amount of slots, but the artists that we had perform were amazing. And again, I'll have exactly the same problem next year, because we're going to open up the artist applications in May, and I know it's going to cause me an absolute headache having to choose. So that was, I think, unexpected. I suppose the other thing as well is just all the bits of the jigsaw piece of puzzle that come together. It's the PR side of things, which I love PR. I do a lot of PR for the Female Creative, which is my coaching mentoring business. So I do have some experience in that, and definitely more experience for this year's festival than I had for the first year. So that was really interesting. The fact that you have to keep on it. This is not like a one-hit wonder. You can't put one news article or go on one radio show. It's relentless. You have to keep going. And just as you get really towards the festival, when the really tight scheduling comes into play and you're working with the venue and you're looking at decoration and you're looking at, you know, all of those aspects, you then have to ramp up the promo and the PR and everything like that. So that was a really steep learning curve of then how do you prioritize and kind of balance that side of things. And I think just in general, it's the communication. We have a lot of artists involved, and trying to get everyone to reply or read the messages in the Facebook group, that was really tricky, especially this time around, where actually some people had not necessarily been on social media so much because of they hadn't been doing live gigs. People were not in the habit of thinking about going and performing on a certain date, getting the band together for rehearsals. So that was really, really tricky, just kind of making sure that everyone had the key information so they would turn up in the right place at the right time with the right people and hopefully with their instruments.
Well, that's it. I mean, when you talk about like social media and PR, I mean, particularly even just for artists, you know, themselves outside of a festival, there's a lot that goes into it because there's all the different platforms, which you never realize how much actually goes into creating posts on platforms until you actually start doing it. I mean, I remember when I first started my own podcast and thinking, that's a lot of content you've got to constantly keep typing out. And I know there's apps out there now that kind of like combine it all together, like Facebook and Instagram, you can put out, you know, pretty much as one post. And then you got like Twitter and stuff, but then people have different handles, which you've got to keep in mind as well. So you're constantly having to change things around. There's a lot to it. Now, when it comes to actually organizing the artists and actually choosing the artists, is there like a set criteria that you look for, like things that they've done in the past or how they've been throughout that last year?
I think I probably make life more difficult for myself in that I like to make sure I've got a broad representation of the country music scene. So I will look at artists who are very well established. So for example, I might look as to whether or not they've been nominated for any awards, whether they've won any of their awards. But then on the flip side of that, I will also go out and seek those artists that are really, really new to the scene and haven't necessarily had the opportunities to perform in some of the festivals, because I think it's one thing doing a gig, but it's a whole other thing to be part of that bigger collective where you're on, you know, on a day where there's 10 other artists performing. I think that's so wonderful for especially the younger or those that are newer to the scene, to have that ability to network with those that are more experienced than them, because they can learn and they can develop through doing that. So I've kind of got those two far ends of the spectrum that I consider. Then I also like to look at that mix between having acoustics, so solo acoustics, duos, trios, acoustic bands, all the way up to full bands. And then the consideration then around that is making sure that I'm slotting in people that are complementary but not necessarily the same. And that's been really difficult this year because we had a lot of changes to the lineup due to people not being able to make the rearranged date. We had quite a few who were bands who then couldn't get their bands together in time, or their bands kind of gone off and done other things, so we're now solos. So it maybe wasn't as slick as I had wanted it to be for this year, but that's definitely the intention, to have those complementary artists, but also make sure that we're not going straight from, you know, a solo female in a particular style to that same style with a solo female. So that's definitely, that was another consideration as well. So that's an awful lot of research. And also I want people who have got a social media presence, who are going to share information about the festival, because obviously we want to get as many fans and audience and attendees there as possible. So that's a consideration as well, to make sure that I've got a good balance of those that do have quite a high social media following, but also not to penalise those that maybe, like I say, they're new to the scene, so haven't yet had the opportunity to build that up. So yeah, I can't even explain how that even looks in my head.
I mean, I personally couldn't do it because there's just so much involved. So my hat does, if I was wearing a hat, it'd go off to you.
Thanks.
But when it does come to like advice, if you had any advice for artists that wanted to, say, perform at Country on the Coast or any other festival, what would that advice be?
I think my biggest piece of advice is to make sure that you've got some really good video content, because that's definitely something that I'm going to go in and look into, because it's one thing to listen to a fully mixed and produced track on Spotify, for example, although there are other music streaming platforms available. But it's another thing to actually hear what that musician, that artist sounds like live. But again, if you've only got mobile phone footage, and luckily mobile phones are so much better than they used to be, but definitely having that mix of video footage across your different platforms. So that's where something like Instagram is really, really helpful, because if you save some of your performances to your highlights, then as a festival organizer, I can go in and I can have a really quick look to get a really good snapshot of what you're like live, because it's not even just about the sound, it's also about how you perform as well. You know, Country on the Coast is about creating that community atmosphere, and we were so lucky this year. We had a few artists, and just to kind of pull a couple of people out, because there were so many more than this, but a guy called Briggs, who's from a band called Downtown Roundabout. Now the band was supposed to perform, but unfortunately he couldn't get all of them together, so Briggs appeared as a solo artist, and his stage presence was insane. He was chatting, he was that whole package. It wasn't just about having a great vocal and a great musicianship. He had that performance aspect. And again, that's what you see in live video rather than a staged music video or what you get from Spotify. So I definitely say have some really good video footage. And an advantage for any artist that does come and perform at Country on the Coast is we will actually provide you with some of that video footage. So we were really lucky to have Danny from DC Brown Live, who did so much video footage. Things like that are just invaluable for me to then go back and look at and really get a great idea as to how the artist performs.
That is absolutely fantastic. Now, finally, I just want to quickly go into the female creative as well, because it's such a big thing as well. I mean, you was named what, woman of the year, woman of business of the year.
Inspirational woman of Portsmouth in the established business category. My award's just up above my head. Just
insane. It really is insane, and it is very well deserved, because the female creative itself, I mean, all you have to do is just search for the female creative on Google, on any other search engine that you may have. But yeah, you can really see the amount of depth, the amount of detail that you go into. Can you tell me quickly how it all started, and what do you do within the female creative for artists and people?
So the female creative was set up to provide a community, because again, as you may have gathered, creating those communities is really, really important to me, and giving other people those platforms to kind of come together. But the female creative is about providing a community for women in business to really ride out the highs and lows of balancing business alongside with a busy life. And I provide that through one-to-one coaching and mentoring, where we look at business foundations. So for me, and the experience that I've had with Country on the Coast, with running and branding Lily Garland as well, and releasing music and all the PR opportunities, and also what I've learned through the female creative is the business foundations of really nailing your messaging, making sure you've got the right strategy in place, the right systems to support all of that, but most importantly, the right mindset as well. A lot of the time, our achievement in business is absolutely made or broken by almost how we talk to ourselves and what we think about ourselves as individuals. So the female creative is about providing that support system, either through one-to-one coaching, through my group monthly membership, which is again a community of women that come together for educational purposes, but also for that support. But I also run networking events as well down in Portsmouth for women to get together. And I also have my own podcast. So it's pretty hectic, it's pretty busy. And it was all born out of lockdown, because as you can probably pick up, I'm not a slow person in terms of my activities. I like to be doing a lot of stuff at the same time. And as for a lot of us, when lockdown hit in that March of 2020, everything stopped for me. I couldn't perform as Lily Garland anymore. The festival was constantly being postponed. I was put on furlough from my corporate job, which I really enjoyed as well. So I went from like running at 100 miles an hour to not doing anything. And rather than revel in the rest, as some people thought maybe I should have done, I thought, I know, I'm going to start up another business. So I just started because I realized that a lot of mums that I knew wanted to turn their hobbies into a bit of a money-making contribution, because we all had a lot more time at home. So they wanted to be able to make an income from a lot of the creative things that they were doing. So how could they run photography differently? How could they do that remotely? How could they take some of their crafting hobbies that they had and actually make that into a business? So I started helping people with their branding, looking at logos, color schemes, but also the feel of branding. So all of that stuff that goes on behind the scenes, and also helping them with their social media strategy, because as you've alluded to, when you're an artist and you're running your own social media, that's a full-time job in itself. And I've learned so much over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also websites as well, because I've always designed my own website. So I used all of that knowledge to help women around me to kind of get off the ground. And it kind of evolved from there, really. I started to then look more strategically at business. I started to understand a lot more. And then I realized that I found my groove in being able to provide that community safe space for women to come in and say, my God, this is really difficult, but also to celebrate the small wins that they achieve day to day as well. So I've got all of that going on. And that's kind of the female creative in a nutshell, really.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, where can we actually find you on the female creative Country on the Coast, and yourself as well?
So for Country on the Coast, the Instagram handle is Country on the Coast UK, and Facebook, it's Country on the Coast. And we also have a website, which is countryonthecoast.uk. So it's just .uk on the end. The website is currently being updated as we speak. So in the next couple of weeks, we will have all of the videos and all of the photos from 2022, plus how you can get involved in 2023. So definitely keep coming in and checking that out. But I will talk more about that on the socials once that's all been updated. And then for the female creative on Instagram, I am _female creative, and the female creative on Instagram, on Facebook, and then the website is thefemalecreative.co.uk. And I have recently updated my website as well, so you will have all the information about all the services I offer, how you can get involved in working with me. The membership is currently open, which is super cheap, even if I do say so myself. For like £1 a day, you can come and be part of the community. And we are starting to have some more music industry people come and join us as well, which is really exciting, because obviously then it combines all of my worlds together in one happy place. But yeah, that's where I am.
You are the perfect little package. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure being able to get to know more about Country on the Coast and the female creative, and yourself as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Well, take care and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
That was the chat I had with Hannah about Country on the Coast and the female creative as well. It's just such an amazing organisation. Be sure to check it out. And again, here are our handles, just in case you missed it. Be sure to check her out. Now, coming up next is another wonderful song. It's actually a medley of songs. Here is Finlan, and he's performing a medley of Cowboy Truth, Poison, and One Too Many.
I was fooling myself, thinking nobody else could ever come between us. I calloused hands from making lifelong plans, but Daddy, please believe this, the first day of life just made up the second of a lie. I forgave her, and then the final third day of life, she got the cowboy truth. If you won't wear the boots, you tell the cowboy truth. Monday at work, my boss is acting that jerk, but War and Pay's just even. Got a mountain to climb, and minus overtime, and Daddy, you'd never believe this, the first day of life, he just made up the second of the lie. I gave him the final third day of life. it's worth it. Even you have to learn your own truths. He said, the first little lie, getting him and the fun. Forgetting me and then the bottom. I got the cowboy truth. If you wanna wear the boots, you tell the cowboy truth. Daddy wanna laugh from you. You tell the cowboy truth. Behind the bushes, out the cellar door, and baby, talk dirty to me. There's no stopping me once I get to go and put a hit in my hand and a wide ass open. Tick-tock, girl, that clock is like a time bomb. By 10:30, I'm that fast. It's at the 11:45, man, I'm doing that play. The countdown's on when the first beer hits me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to me.
That was Alan Finlan performing a medley of Cowboy Truth, Poison, and One Too Many. Just absolutely insane. Such a wonderful mix of 3 amazing songs. Give Alan a follow. Go on, go check him out. His socials are just below. Now, next up is another wonderful artist. Here is Becky Lawrence with her song, You Say.
You say that you need, you say that you want, you say that you love me.
There we go. That was Motel Sundown with Perfect Eyes here on Live in the Living Room. Absolutely sensational end to yet another sensational show. Make sure you are following Motel Sundown on their socials. Their handles are just below. Thank you again for tuning into this episode of Live in the Living Room. I can't believe we're on episode 17 already. It's just been absolutely insane. The whole journey's been a roller coaster, and we have a genuinely wonderful team of hardworking individuals here that all come together to make this dream a reality. It really does. Live in the Living Room wouldn't be anything that it is without you, the listeners, and all the artists that perform. So again, if you do want to perform on Live in the Living Room, if you would like to be on a chat with myself or give any advice videos, be sure to send us a message on Live in the Living Room on Facebook and Instagram. Now, a special shout out always has to go out to Sam Ellis from Flatland Kings, who is an absolute god when it comes to editing these videos together. He gets the videos last minute from me, and I always promise I'm going to be quicker and better, and I never am. And he does such an amazing job at such short notice. Be sure to check out Sam and his wonderful skills as well as a mixer in production and for his band as well, for Flatland Kings. Check them all out. Their handles are just below. Thank you all for listening. It has been an honor. It's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege as always. I shall see you all next time. Take care and bye for now.